Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We're going to be testing out the new Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. Now, this is what the outside of the packaging looks like. So if I shift it, you can see that it has that multi-chrome look to it, which is so pretty. And so does the box. So I'm super excited about this. Now, this palette retails for $129. You can order it off of Natasha Denona's website, Sephora, Beautylish, and I think Beauty Bay. But I purchased mine from Natasha Denona's website, and I used the code ND times Boxy, I think, for 25% off. So I paid $96 and some change for this eyeshadow palette. And I will tell you, I was super excited for it because the special thing about this palette is it has multi-chromes in it. So as you can see, these are the big pans. So this is like the traditional $129 Natasha Denona formula. There are 15 shades. And so out of the 15 shades, there are three multi-chromes and 12 mattes. And it can be made, looks can be made layer by layer, or sorry, row by row, or you can kind of just mix and match for whatever look you like. And again, like normal Natasha formula, whenever they're in these plastic palettes, they have the pen where you can take and rearrange the palette however you like. So I have that. I also pulled out all of my chromium eyeshadows by Natasha Denona. I have my Cleona, and then I have the Walhalla 2 and my Pat McGrath to kind of see if any of the multi-chromes are the same. So we'll start off by swatching the mattes, and then we'll go from there. So the first shade is Scrape, which is a beautiful matte army green. And then we have Antidote, which is almost like a very pale spring green. Okay, then we have Ion, which is almost a neon yellow, like a limey yellow. And then Vert. So Ion and Vert. I like that shade Vert. It's like a dirty pistachio. Then we have Naga, Manganese, Redox, and Tungsten. Now these shadows are a little crumbly, just so you know. So we've got Naga, Manganese, I like that shade, Redox, and Tungsten. So I'll show you this because when I'm swatching these, the mattes, they're nice and soft, but they are a little crumbly, so you can see it's wanting to go all over. And I don't like that, but that's just me personally. Then we have Vertex, Plutonium, Garmin, and Diatonic. So Vertex, Plutonium, Garmin, Diatonic. Okay, so those are all the matte shades in here. And I love Natasha's matte formula, so I don't mind that the palette is mainly matte, especially because I do own all 5 of the liquid chromium shadows. And then I also own so many from Cleona, and I have more coming in. So that does not bother me at all. So what I want to go ahead and do is wipe the back of my hand off before we swatch the multi-chromes, so we can kind of see what they compare to. Okay, so we got Scarab. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so you kind of see how when I move my finger around, how it's got that blue shift. Oh, love that. Gonna go ahead and make that swatch a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's Scarab. They feel so nice. Kinetic. Oh, I like that too. And last but not least is Color Flip. Okay, So one thing I can already tell you is Color Flip is probably going to be the one that's going to be closest to Fake in Walhalla 2. Okay, so Fake in Walhalla 2 is on top, Color Flip is below. And then Sextraterrestrial in Pat McGrath. So as you can see, there is slight differences, but the shift on them is pretty similar. So if that tells you something. So the Juvia's Place and Pat McGrath are almost identical to Color Flip. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch out the liquid ones. See if there's any similarities. So the first one is Dragonfly. I love Dragonfly. This is Scarab, and that is the same color. Oh yeah. Scarab is the same in liquid and in powder form, just in case you're wondering. Then we have Ultraviolet. Okay, so Ultraviolet is definitely what I would consider. So I swatched Ultraviolet twice. So Ultraviolet's here and then Ultraviolet's here. So Ultraviolet is definitely what I would consider to be the liquid equivalent of Color Flip. So then we have Infranude. So that's Infranude. And last but definitely not least is Dog's Bane, which I love Dog's Bane too. Okay, so out of the Natasha Denona Chromium shadows, the Kinetic shade is the only one I don't see like an identical one to. So, are pretty close to identical. And then I'm gonna open up my Cliona multi-chromes. I have to be very careful because I have one that I broke. So, and I don't have, most of the multi-chromes I have by Cliona are the glitter multi-chromes because that's my favorite formula. Okay, so this one right here that I just swatched over here is sparklier, but I think it's going to be closest to Kinetic, which is the shade Bloodline. So that's what that looks like. And it looks weird, but when you actually swatch it out, it has a lot of that same kind of flip, but it is much more glittery. And then the shade, no. See, the Cliona shadows, and that's pretty close too. That is Flame Blown, which looks like that. Is pretty close to Kinetic. It's just a little bit richer. So, there are some similarities. So if you have a large multi-chrome collection, you may not need this palette. I have, as you can see, quite a few Cliona shadows. I have the Walhalla 2, I have the Juvia's Place, so, or the Pat McGrath. So there are, and then I own all the liquid ones. So there are some similarities, so that needs to be known. Like if you're looking at getting this palette and you own all 5 of these, you may not need this palette because spending $129 for pretty much one shade is a lot. And especially since the mattes are beautiful, and I don't think I have any that are identical from Natasha Denona, but I don't feel like they're unique enough where it'd be like, oh, let's spend $129. So we're gonna start off, I've already primed my eyes with the Gerard Cosmetic Clean Canvas Eye Base in Fair because I wanted to have a light base for the shadows to stick to. And I will tell you, they feel nice and soft, but I do like the way that the multi-chromes from the shade Fake feels a little bit better to me. And the Cliona shadows feel better to me. And like, if you're not a collector like I am, having all these shades, you know, is kind of hard, like, you know what I mean? Okay, so we're gonna go, I wanna do a green look. So I'm gonna go into the shade Antidote first. Picks up nice in the brush. It does have a lot of fallout, but that's nothing unusual. And I will have a video probably next week because I have another order of Cliona multichromes coming in. I have the glitter iridescent multichromes, I think, and the deep, either the deep or the hybrid, I can't remember. Because I told my husband what I wanted for like my birthday, and they have been so backed up. Like, it was a pre-order for October and they're supposed to get here November 10th. So we're waiting on those. But again, I have no issue being patient because, you know, they are a small independent company and it has been difficult in the middle of a pandemic, you know. They've had to close and all that kind of stuff. So I used Antidote first. It's a pretty color. I actually do like that color. I think it's very pretty. So next I think we're gonna go on into Ion. Again, it picks up nice on the brush. And if you're wondering what brush I'm using, this is an E40 by Sigma. Oh, that's pretty. It's going on a lot more pigmented than what I thought it would. Because swatching it out, but again, my hands and my arms are quite a bit darker than my face. And then when I use the Fair eyeshadow primer, it gives me a nice pale base to work with because my eyelids are dark. They're as dark as probably my hands. But I am someone who does use sunscreen, especially on my face, religiously. So I am, especially as I've aged, because as you can see, I'm like 10 shades darker on my arms. And it's not that I spend that much time outside, I just really get tan quickly. Okay, love that. I really love that. Okay, so next we're gonna go into Vert, which is that dirty kind of pistachio color. And just add a little bit more depth. So it's adding some depth, not a whole lot. Like, I don't know if you need both Ion and Vert. Once you kind of get it on your eye, I don't know if they're both needed. You should know, I'm going to be honest about my reviews, and I love luxury makeup, and don't get me wrong, but I am a harsh judge of luxury makeup because if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on it, even if I like it, I'm still going to be tough because, you know, I don't want someone to go drop $129 on an eyeshadow palette or whatever and be like, oh, this is crap and I got it off your recommendation. So no, I would rather be harsh about it and people be like, well, I really love it versus not, you know what I mean? Okay, so I just using the E70 by Sigma in this shade Scrape, which is like one of my favorite kinds of colors, that dark, grungy green. That is like life to me. And we're just kind of testing out colors I definitely plan on doing more with the palette, but I wanted to do like a first impressions kind of thing today. And I figured it was probably a good thing for me to do this because I do own all of the chromiums and all that kind of stuff. And that way you can know what you're buying. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm loving this look. Gotta make sure everything's nice and blended together. And that's one thing about it, is like I don't feel like I have to work extremely hard to get a pretty eye look with Natasha Denona. You know, whenever I do eye looks, especially on camera, well, always on camera, you see I do them live, because I feel like you're going to get the best judge of what a shadow is going to do if you're seeing me use it in action. You know what I mean? Like at that moment, what is going on? Okay, so I'm wiping down my ColourPop, what is this, the E4 brush, and we're gonna do our eyes just like we always do. I like to use glitter glue to hold down any type of shimmer. And I really like glitter glue whenever I'm using a multi-chrome, because I think it gives it a really good base to make a smooth application for it to shift well on your eyes, if that makes sense. It does to me. So we're gonna smooth that out with the ColourPop brush. And I feel like what's the lifespan on these? 24 months. So if you don't own the chromium eyeshadows, this might be the way to go, because each of the chromium eyeshadows, I think, were $29 each. I don't remember for sure because I used a bunch of my Sephora points and got the $100 gift card. So I paid for them, but I paid for them using points, kind of. And we're going into the shade Scarab, because I love a good grungy multi-chrome. I love good grungy look anyway. But they were either $25 or $29 each. So for 12-month life on them, and they're tiny, this might be the better deal. Especially if you don't use like a liquid shadow all the time, because they do need to be used or they will go bad. Okay, look how pretty that is. Oh, and you can see the shift. So you can see like how when I turn my head, that changes. Oh yeah. This is why I love multi-chromes. This right here. Okay, so if you'll give me a few minutes, I'm gonna go off camera, do the rest of my face. We'll come back, do the lower lash lines, and I will tell you my thoughts on the palette. So I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in Deep Bronze, my Arthurian blush palette by Menagerie Cosmetics. I used the top shade right here, Cloudberry. Love that. Isn't it a pretty color? I used the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Glow for the highlight, and it is blinding. And then on lips, I used the Pat McGrath Permagel Lip Liner in Suburbia, the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Lipstick in Andrea, and the Sweet Mouth Lip Gloss. And then I also used the NYX Epic Wear Liner Stick in Graphic Purple in my lower lash line. So we're gonna go ahead and do our lower lash line, but I am going to just say, look how pretty. I mean, you cannot deny that that is so pretty. So I'm grabbing, this is a BK Beauty 203 brush, And we're gonna go into the shade Manganese, which is the deeper purple that's there. And just smoke out our lower lash line. I love purple and green together. It is one of my favorite combinations. Oh, that's so pretty. And I don't know. What was I going to say? I completely lost it. That's so pretty though. Okay, so I need something smaller and kind of fluffy. We're gonna use this. This is the Cliona. What brush is this? It doesn't say, but it's just like a small fluffy brush. And I'm gonna go into tungsten right here just to really smoke that out. But you see what I'm saying? Like for me, myself personally, I like more shadow down there because I think it kind of helps hide my bags and the dark color, the discoloration and the wrinkles. As long as it doesn't settle into a wrinkle like it did right there. Let's grab a clean brush. This is a Kaleidos, when is this? This is an S1. And just kind of go, there we go. Smooth it over. There we go. Okay, so I'm liking how that looks. I'm gonna add some lower lash line mascara. And what I really wish would be in this palette that I feel like it's lacking in my personal opinion is one of like the iridescent-y multi-chromes. Like that's part of the reason why I ordered more of these from Cliona, because I love these. But we're gonna use this one right here, which is Gilding, as our inner corner. Cause see how pretty that is? Quit breaking on me, ornamental. I have to order another ornamental. I broke the shade. It's still a pretty color. I just have to be careful with the palette now because I broke a shade. Okay, so this is the Kaleidos, what is this? S5, which is just like a tiny little pencil brush. And we're going to apply Gilding in the inner corner. See how pretty that is? And it ties that whole purple and pink look to, or purple and green. Why did I say purple and pink? Look together. There we go. Okay, so this is the look completed. You can definitely tell that it is a multi-chrome. When I turn my face, you can see all kinds of colors. So my thoughts on this palette. If you own the chromium shades, you probably don't need this. If you want it, buy it. But if you already own the liquid ones, you don't really need it just yet. If you own a lot of multi-chromes, you really don't need it. Do I think it's beautiful? Yes. Do I think I got a beautiful look out of it? Yes. Do I think I will use it? Yes. But that's all up to you and on your makeup preferences. I adore how this came out. I think it did a great job. Multi-chrome singles can be quite expensive by themselves. There are a lot of small businesses that are doing them. Cliona, Divina, who else? JD Glow. There's several that are doing them. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking at supporting. But as I said, I've got a lot of Cliona shadows. I love their formula. So you might want to look into doing something like that. But I do think that this is a gorgeous palette, and I am certainly glad that I purchased it. But it's up to you and on your own needs on whether you need it or not. But I guess that's it. So we'll see y'all soon. Bye.